After 8 years of this NDP Liberal government, small businesses are struggling to survive and entrepreneurship has fallen off a cliff. The minister and this government love to claim that they have the backs of small businesses, yet they've ignored their concerns and the issues they face time after time. According to the most recent data from the Superintendent of Bankruptcies, total business insolvencies increased by 23.5% month over month from September, October 2023, and from the 12-month period ending in October, the increase was 39.9% year over year. The recent Statistics Canada survey on small business conditions, fourth quarter 2023, revealed that the majority of businesses, that is 73.7%, expect to face cost-related obstacles over the next 3 months. Rising inflation was the most commonly expected obstacle, followed by rising input costs, interest rates, and debt costs. Another Stats Can report on GDP, income, and expenditures for the third quarter of 2023 found that exports of goods and services fell 1.3%. Inventories accumulated at the slowest pace in 2 years, with the manufacturing industry recording a withdrawal after 6 consecutive quarters of accumulations. And fewer businesses are investing in engineering structures in the wake of the completion of the Coastal GasLink LNG pipeline in my province. In their business barometer for November 2023, the CFIB reported that business confidence remains low. The 12-month Small Business Confidence Index dropping another 1.5 points to 45.6, a third consecutive decrease in optimism. The Conference Board of Canada paints a similar picture. Their index of business confidence dropped by another percentage point in the third quarter, bringing the index to 33.9 points below its latest peak in 2021. This was driven by a 7.7% decline in businesses who think now is not a good time to expand. The CFIB also published a report in November on labour shortages, highlighting that 53% of Canadian small business owners report that labour shortages are preventing them from expanding their business. Canadian business owners have been clear. Some of the biggest challenges they face right now relate to inflation, red tape, and repeated tax hikes. All challenges imposed on them by this government. When I asked the minister whether her government would stop their punishing tax hikes and inflationary spending, her response was to brag about more spending. Hearing all of these alarming trends for small businesses, the minister will have to excuse me for not jumping on her bandwagon of empty announcements, flashy photo ops, and cheerleading the government's reckless spending that has failed to address the real and structural challenges faced by small businesses across our country. I'll give the minister another chance this evening. Will her government commit to stop raising taxes on small businesses and bring their spending under control to address inflation? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm happy to respond to comments made earlier by the Honourable Member for Mission Matsky Fraser Canyon regarding support for small businesses and restaurants. Madam Speaker, the government understands the important role that small businesses and restaurants play in communities from coast to coast to coast. Let me outline some of the measures that the government is taking to support businesses dealing with inflation that is affecting all Canadians. The government was there through the pandemic and provided direct support to businesses. We introduced wage and rent subsidies, advice and training to help businesses adapt to a digital marketplace, and loans to provide liquidity relief to ensure businesses' survival through the recovery period. The Canadian Emergency Business Account, or CEBA, provided $49 billion in support to nearly 900,000 businesses across the country. The program offered interest-free, partially forgivable loans up to $60,000 to eligible small businesses. It kept their lights on, Madam Speaker, and helped workers remain employed. We recently extended the deadline for partial forgiveness, and the CEBA term loan deadline was extended by 1 year to December 31st, 2026, to offer more time to businesses for their loan repayment. The government is also supporting small businesses by cutting credit card transaction fees and by cutting the small business tax rate from 11% to 9%, which is essential to businesses coming out of this pandemic. We have enhanced the Canadian Small Business Financing Program by increasing annual financing to small businesses by an estimated annual $560 million, helping businesses access liquidity for startup costs and intangible assets. And for businesses looking to bring their offerings to the digital marketplace, Madam Speaker, the Canadian Digital Adoption Program has supported enterprises of all sizes to digitize and reach more markets. The government is supporting businesses in their efforts to strive for even greater inclusivity with the Women Entrepreneurship Strategy, the Black Entrepreneurship Program, and the 2S LGBTQI+ Entrepreneurship Program, and targeted supports for Indigenous businesses. Madam Speaker, the government will continue to work hard for Canadian small businesses and restaurants because we know that they are the backbone of our economy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member for Mission Fraser Canyon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are now past the pandemic, and I'm getting tired of hearing the government raise the pandemic-related responses for small businesses time and time again when they fail to acknowledge that the extension they provided for small business owners to January 18th was woefully insufficient, and every single member of Parliament in this House has heard from those restaurants and small businesses that this government simply got it wrong. The real problem, Madam Speaker, is that this government is not paying attention to the structural challenges facing the Canadian economy. Time and time again, small businesses have outlined red tape, the challenges of doing businesses, and the numbers speak for themselves. Statistics Canada has reported time and time again in the last year that more businesses are closing than opening, that many businesses don't see an opportunity to expand because they don't believe the government has created the right conditions for them to do so.
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm not surprised the member opposite doesn't want to talk about the supports we provided to small businesses, because frankly, I wonder if they would have done so if they were in power. Madam Speaker, we know that inflation is a global phenomenon that is a lingering result of the pandemic and exacerbated by worldwide events. And it's making life harder for many businesses, particularly restaurants. The government has introduced measures to ensure that doing business in Canada is as easy as possible, including cutting taxes for growing small businesses, lowering their credit card fees up to a quarter, and helping them access more financing to grow their business. We will continue to support small businesses and restaurants across the country as we deal with the very real challenges of the global economy and inflation. Madam Speaker, thank you.